take the blame.
Welcome to the Mountain West Esports Championship. It has all led up to this over the spring semester. Teams from across the Mountain West have been competing in a variety of games such as Overwatch, League of Legends, and Valorant. And today, it's time to crown some grand champions. So I'll be hosting throughout the day, joined by my co-host, Artemis Rain, call all of the action for you. My name's Jacob Palmer, by the way. And Artie, we have for the Overwatch Grand Final, Boise State going up against UNLV, two teams with quite a history.
I mean, this is the 5th year in a row that, well, sorry, 6th year in a row, I can do math, that Boise State and UNLV will be going up against each other for the coveted Mountain West Championship title. Now, the first 3 years of the Mountain West Conference regarding esports, UNLV managed to claim the title of the Mountain West Champions. Ever since the kerfuffle of COVID-19, 2021 onward, the Broncos have claimed the title of Mountain West Champions. So it's 2 for them, 3 for UNLV. Will the Broncos be able to equalize it today, or will UNLV reclaim the coveted title of the Mountain West Champions for Overwatch? That is the question on everyone's mind.
Well, there's such a history between these two teams. Before the match starts in a few minutes, we're just going to take some time to go over some of the highlights, maybe some of the lowlights, depending on what team you're rooting for or what team's your home team, because there have certainly been a lot of wins and a lot of defeats for both of these teams. And Boise State has been the team with, you would kind of say, the momentum over the last 3 years, but for this year, it's pretty much even between the two teams. Boise State stands undefeated in the normal season, UNLV right behind them at 5-1.
Yes, and the last match that we did broadcast for the Broncos took place between Utah State and Boise State, and the opening match for the Mountain West Conference was actually between Utah and the Broncos themselves. So our semifinals leading into our grands, at least as far as the Boise State team goes, was a rematch of the intro to the Mountain West season, and the story was quite similar with a quick 3-0 sweep.
Well, let's take a look at the game that got Boise State to this point. It's the semifinal versus the semifinal that took place just yesterday, I believe. So both these teams should be well in practice. This was Boise State versus Utah State. And we'll just see what Boise State kind of brings to the table so far. You see the lineup, which I'm sure is going to be pretty much similar. We've got Kel, Bagel, Lyric, Clear, and Goblin.
Well, the thing that's a little bit different about the Broncos squad of this year versus yesteryears is the hero pool and versatility of the players that we have, which is, for example, Clear, who is a very dominant performer on both tank and DPS. And so we'll have Clear on DPS for some of these games. As you can see here, he's playing Widowmaker. We are able to bring in Goblin to play that somber role, who's a very oppressive character currently with the state of the game as it is right now. Not so much in Season 4, so take note to anyone that is watching and trying to learn. And beyond that, we have Chosen who can come in and play support, and Lyric who can swap in on support as well. So while this is one of our possible permutations of our roster, this isn't the guaranteed roster we'll see starting out, but nonetheless, every single roster is extremely powerful that we'll present today.
And definitely, you know, you kind of have to be have that more flex mentality with the current way Overwatch 2 kind of works. And what do you think overall, you know, we talk so much about tanks and DPSs, but what does Boise State have to bring to the table in terms of their supports?
The way I like to frame it is that the supports that are favored by the Broncos squad are the supports that are, oh yeah, I'm supposed to heal supports, which are the ones that are doing equal amount of eliminations or final blows onto enemy heroes as their own DPS are, and then all of a sudden someone's low and they're crying in the background, begging a support for heals, and the support realizes, oh yeah, I have a role, and that's supposed to be actually healing someone and not trying to eliminate someone else on the enemy team.
Well, Boise State and UNLV will be battling at the top of the hour, but right now you're just joining us for a pre-show and kind of a look back at this rivalry between Boise State and UNLV over the past. I mean, this is the sixth time you were saying, if we're counting today, these two teams are meeting. Now, Artie, you yourself have had a bit of history, you know, in this tournament as well. So give us an overall score of why this is such an intense rivalry year to year?
So 2019 was my first year kind of intro to the varsity team. The year of 2018, I was actually playing for our club team known as the Bronze Tier Brawlers, and I said, screw it, I'm actually going to get good at this game. I dropped my other extracurricular activities and fully threw myself into the game of Overwatch. 2019, made it down to Nevada, lost 2020. Lost again and got home with a gift of being extremely sick. And then the year of 2021, which was our first actual victory, this was because it was still pandemic time. We were here in this arena in masks. We had, dividers up between all of us. I was out that game, and I was just there for providing support and intel to my teammates. And I just remember the moment where we actually won the coveted title for the first time, a Mountain West Championship. Everyone on the team went dead silent for a moment, and then there was an eruption of cheers coming from everyone in the crowd, all of the players. The realization set in that we finally did this thing. We had the goal of getting our first championship title of Mountain West, and from there, everything just escalated. We've gotten NACE championship titles. We got the Play Versus title the following year. It's just been cascading and snowballing into something that's so much bigger than I ever could have seen this team being with the very inception of it. In the auditorium room where Doc gathered together a bunch of ragtag kids and said, hey, are you interested in playing video games back in 2018?
It's interesting that you mentioned the first victory the Broncos had in the Mountain West in 2021, because I do believe we had a hype video made for that because there was such a momentous occasion. I consider myself lucky that I was able to cast that match, and it was electric. I mean, of a best-of-5 match, it went all the way down to the 5th game. Not only that, but because the 5th game's always control, that means it's a kind of a mini best-of-3 within that round, and that went to the 3rd match, so it was about as even as you could possibly get. I don't know if we still have that hype video in the system. I'm just saying it is a production, and they are looking for it right now, but I'm sure we still have it because, oh my goodness, what a night that was.
And I really want to highlight that hype video because not only was it of our Broncos, but it was made by a person at that time who was becoming a future Bronco. Our hype video was actually created by Chosen, one of our support players, and it is an insane video. I mean, it's electrifying to watch, and to be totally honest, Jem, your casting in it is absolutely supreme. The analogies that you make between our squad taking on, it being David versus Goliath, that really kind of summarizes how that game felt for everyone going into it, because up until that point, UNLV was the giant of Mountain West as far as Overwatch went, and it was the moment where we released that rock from the sling and took down the Goliath.
And it wasn't just, sort of an easy victory. I mean, Boise State had many games during that match, especially, I'm not only talking about the last control game, but when we went to Payload and we were on Gibraltar, too. I mean, there was an insane overtime UNLV push on the Payload, and Boise State then had to hold the Payload for an extended amount of time. There were just so many things that could have gone wrong, and Boise State had a very narrow path to walk for a long time, like a bunch of minutes at a time, that they had to continuously win team fights to just stay in the game, or else it could have ended there. And so let's take a look now at why UNLV is such a formidable team. This is the semifinals that happened between them and Fresno State, and we get a chance to see what they bring to the table.
Fresno State is also a prior opponent of the Broncos, who was quite formidable in the days of old. And now for the Broncos, they definitely feel like a squad they can take on easily. With all due respect, they are still a force to be reckoned with. UNLV did not have the easiest time sweeping this squad, but nonetheless, Cordy Toomer, their main tank, is definitely someone to keep an eye out for. It's going to be a battle of Matt Merck, Clear, and Cordy Toomer to see who comes out on top truly in these tank battles.
And of course, we also, it's hard to mention UNLV without mentioning, their Doomfist play. I know you were talking about, you have some memories of that. Silk Carpet, who was a big DPS player for UNLV. But times have changed now, and that you can't play that DPS role anymore, because that's back when Doom was a DPS.
Okay, hear me out. Yeah, you can't play Doomfist as a DPS, but you could still play DPS as a tank, and Doomfist is now a tank. It's not like he's gone.
Sure.
And I do know from credible sources, i.e. one of their support players who I run into in ladder, who did give the information regarding the fact that Silk Carpet, also known as Kevin Durant in years past, has come in to help out players with the Doomfist play, which is a common tank that we do end up seeing pulled out by the side of UNLV. And then you have Slam Taro, who is their organizer, who also helps out with the Wrecking Ball play. Both of them very well rounded and versed on those tanks, but the issue is that those tanks, you kind of treat them as glass cannon, because as soon as you figure out the weakness, that entire composition gets eviscerated, and the answer is typically a Reaper and a Sombra, and you say bye-bye to your one-person front line of your tank in those instances. So UNLV really has to show a depth of hero adaptability, as well as hero pools and play styles in this game if they want to come out on top. They can't rely on this, let's just spearhead it down with a Tracer and a Wrecking Ball, or a Tracer or a Genji and a Doomfist.
As well as the team communication Boise State is going to need to be to survive that initial burst of damage, you know, the actual firing from the glass cannon before it shatters, if you will.
Most definitely, and that comes down to positioning. We will probably overhear the comms at some point over our headsets. They get really loud. It's just how Overwatch is in comparison to the other games that take place here. And we'll understand the state of the game just based off of how they're sounding. If they're really frantic on stage and you hear a lot of rapid-fire words, something most likely is going wrong. However, if they're very calm and we are able to actually identify what's being said through those comms, then odds are they're fully prepared for that initial cannon fire and are set up and ready to take it on, especially because, you know, UNLV is a team we've taken on before. We know how they like to play, so you know how to counter it.
And here are the last 2 minutes of UNLV's previous game, the one that they had to win in order to get to this point. We can see this one went all the way to the 4th stage. This one went all the way to push.
Push. The map type that replaced our 2CP that is still just as bad as 2CP.
I don't have as strong opinions on it as you do, let's just say. But,
that's a good thing.
I mean, we can see, we were talking about their ability of the DPS, and we can see here he tried to get the flank in on the Zen, but was instantly shut down. So that's kind of what we were talking about needing to have kind of the reactability of your supports to call out to your teammates, hey, I'm getting dived on.
Well, the other thing here is that you could see they're pulling out that Doomfist Genji combo, whereas the side of Fresno State, the thing that they chose to respond with is Zenyatta to put the Discord out. Either you pick the Genji or you pick the Doomfist, and then the Torbjorn to kind of mess with the Doomfist. But the Torbjorn is a double-edged sword in this instance, because if you have your turret in a really bad spot, Doomfist is going to use it for constant charge on his punch, and that means you are sending your supports to the Shadow Realm every time you hear that charge because of your turret. And so, unfortunately, Fresno State here did not make the opportunistic swap of going to a Sombra or a Reaper in this instance to take care of this problem. Instead, they went to what would commonly be considered an older strategy for dealing with Doomfist, which is a Torbjorn. Just doesn't do as much as he used to anymore.
And it overall was a successful push that UNLV managed to have in order to claim the victory in that semifinal and come here to the grand final to face off against Boise State. So, we've been talking a lot about what we expect to see, but is there anything particularly spicy that you would like to, you want a little bit of variety in your life? What are you calling?
I mean, my personal favorite that we saw actually in the very first Mountain West game against Utah State was Goblin having the gall to pull out a Pharah without a Mercy. The one thing that does play into that is that we were aware that there wasn't an opportunity for the side of Utah to swap over to a hit scan. It was Kings Row. There's a lot of cover, especially during the streets phase. There's a lot of cover, so you can get away with it. And the thing with UNLV is in a lot of instances, we're seeing that Genji. We're seeing Wrecking Ball. We're seeing Doomfist, a tank that can't handle a Pharah. They can't do anything against a Pharah. We're seeing an Ana. Yeah, Ana can deal with a Pharah, but the Ana can't be looking at a Pharah if her front line is getting eviscerated by the rest of the team. So the question is, can UNLV make the proper swaps to deal with Goblin going to the Pharah? And then if they do, can they make the proper swaps to deal with Goblin going over to the Sombra in the next instance? Or Clear deciding to go onto the Sombra or go onto the Reaper or Tracer?
There certainly is a wide hero pool that either of these teams can pull from, and it's going to take everything that can, all the team communication and split-second decision-making in order to choose the right comps to counter each pick. And we can see the bracket that led to this point. Boise State went up against Utah State and won that semi, and then UNLV had their match against Fresno State. They won that semi. So now it's the two old rivals, the Broncos versus the Rebels, here yet again in the Mountain West Conference Overwatch Championship.
The really scary thing about the state of the Overwatch gameplay right now is that supports are so finely tuned. They have to pick the supports that match their tank's playstyle. And then that tank has to then play the rock, paper, scissors game with the enemy tank. And if your tank swaps and your supports are saying, I'm not swapping because I have ult, that can be the end-all, be-all of a team fight and a map loss, because one fight lost because you held on to a character that you shouldn't have stayed on because your tank swapped can be the doom for your team, pun intended. Now, with that being said, are we going to see swaps properly? Are they going to be happening fast enough? Broncos are notorious for losing a fight and then making proper swaps to accommodate for the enemy composition. UNLV, not so much. They are definitely the I'm going to fit a square peg into a round hole type of team.
But hey, when you have players as skilled as they have who can really pop off on some of these hero choices, then hey, you know, in the golden days, you know, of Kevin Durant / Silk Carpet, you know, he could do a whole lot on just Doomfist. And to kind of give you an example of how exciting this matchup between Boise State and UNLV is, we have found that hype video back from the 2021 Grand Championship. So let's take a trip down memory lane and see the first time the Broncos beat the Rebels. And now just overall amazing play by the Broncos, but we're going to see if the streak has come to an end, if UNLV can finally claim back that title that they won for the first 3 years. You have a particular look on your face.
I'm saying no, because I'm going to be completely honest. A lot of games come down to, you know, people will say it's a main tank diff, but I mean, yeah, we have Matt Merck, who is one of the top tanks out there, but we also have Clear, who's an insanely dominant tank. But then, you know, we have Plato, who can come in, and, you know, I hate to make this statement, but there was a goblin in the days of old that would make the strangest swaps, but they would work. And now it feels as though Plato, in some instances, has decided to emulate said behavior. Granted, not so much in our games, but more in ladder gameplay. But it does demonstrate his ability to make these kooky swaps and force a hero that shouldn't work and make it work. And that really just speaks to the problem-solving capabilities and the overall competence of this team to work around said awkward swaps and work together as a team to make those strange compositions work. Whereas UNLV, they've always been that team that has the comp that they like, and they're not sure if, well, really what to do when they get countered because they have this one comfort composition. We knew that comp in the years of old. We just would practice that comp that would counter it, and unfortunately, we couldn't counter it hard enough. But these guys are more than capable of countering those comps.
Well, that isn't the only highlight that we have to go over. We have another kind of recap video to kind of show you just how fierce these two teams compete. Let's get to that and head back a few years.
All, like I said, I think Assault favors UNLV.
Now here comes Boise State is going to be pushing through this first choke point here.
Well, here comes the rally being used first. Now it's going to be answered by UNLV. They get caught up with the Graviton Surge, and Silk is going to throw out that Pulse Bomb onto Ace, who pick up one, but Silk gets taken out as well, so both teams are at 5. We see Copy coming out from Plato onto the Brig, almost building up that rally, is able to build it up and push Boise State toward the point. Bob was used by UNLV as Wildwing and QWERTY pick up one for each of them. Kel, before the remake can come through, is taken out by Wildwing. And as much as we talk about Silk, Wildwing is such a good DPS in his own right. As one of their members, the Tracer, tries to get back onto the point, but with Karma getting a double there, that's going to end their chances.
Yeah, UNLV just came out ready to go on this map, absolutely answered the call of how would they handle being up against match point. And
it's a huge pick, and the stall from Kwok is no longer going to be available. But Boise State needs to hold on for as long as they can. If Kwok can get back to the point in time, maybe you can use that Primal Rage. Oh, what a great effort from the Broncos, but not quite there. It would be probably the biggest victory of the season for the Broncos. Like in terms of just pure emotional attachment and the history that Boise State has had with this rivalry, they've already picked up, you know, a good amount of championships, you know, not to discount, you know, Boise and Madden or Boise State's victory in Play Versus, but this particular matchup has so much attachment for Boise State, so much history, that to win here would be the ultimate send-off of the year. We're going to find out how Boise State does. Well, time is still ticking. They're past 65% here. Boise State just looking to get some more charge there on their ultimates. Here comes the Pharah. You see her there, but where is the positioning going to be used? There goes Kel with the Gravitic Flux, is going to be able to take out Wildwing and Silk Carpet again. That is a huge play, and before the rest can come through, they take out Lucky, and Boise State is going past 85%, forcing UNLV to come in one at a time. Oh man, can they even get to the point to contest it? No! Boise State gets the first victory!
And now we see how Boise State will respond. This is the one map they did lose to Fresno.
Well, here we go. Plato taking a lot of damage. Is going to be taken out early from QWERTY as Boise State is using their ultimates, is only able to take out the Immortality Field. And Silk getting the pick onto Asu as Large Bagel's trying to get away as he's pressured by him, is taken out by Karma. And that did not go the way the Broncos wanted. They burned off all the ultimates from UNLV, but they also used all of their own. Okay, here we go. There goes the Amp Matrix thrown out as High Noon is used by Wildwing. Diva Bomb comes out from Kel. Doesn't pick up anybody, but QWERTY is taken out of their Mac. Maybe, just maybe, no onto Plato and Kel, and the rest of the Broncos fall. And UNLV, proven why that they are the top team to beat, are not going to let this go easily. They're going to drive it to the final game for everything. And it is all led up to this, the final map. The final fight. Who is going to be the Mountain West Championships in both of these teams' third year in a row meeting? One is going to come out on top as the champions. We're going to find out now. Pushing them right off the point as Slam is taken out first, and now they quickly take out Silk. Silk actually falls off the edge, and Guac takes out Wildwing as well. That is a crucial first pick as the point unlocks in 1 second. Now Boise State is the first to take it. UNLV throws down their own Amp Matrix, and both teams are even. Photon Barrier coming out from Plato onto Lucky, and Large Bagel takes him out, but Plato is also taken out by Silk. Now Silk picking up a double coming through, but look at Goblin taking out Silk and Wildwing. Both DPSs down for UNLV, and a successful Bronco hold. They are able to quickly take out the Immortality Field. However, Silk Carpet coming in with a crucial pick onto the back line, and Goblin trying to wraith away is not going to be able to. Kel and Asu also fall, but now it's a question of just trying to get that charge as high as they can, and they did manage to get it up to about 83, so it's single fight territory. But Guac uses that shatter, plows into Wildwing, and Boise State finds themselves up with the advantage in this one, able to take out Lucky as it goes on to overtime. And now Lucky is taken out. Now UNLV has to go on to the point. Slamturo does throw out the minefield, making it a little bit tougher for Boise State. They are able to take out Slam Silk with the bomb onto Guac. Karma also going down. And can Boise State win it here? Can they do it? They are able to take out Wild Wing one after the other. They're getting close. Boise State almost there. Can they do it? Goblin taken out, but QWERTY also taken out in response as well. On to Lucky. They're almost there. Can they do it? Come on.
The Symmetra MVP is, in fact, Boise State's getting back to the point faster because there's no teleporter up. Photon barrier goes down. It's all up to QWERTY.
Boise State, you have taken down Goliath. You are the Mountain West champions.
Oh boy, was that a match for the ages. As long as it could possibly go, you could literally hear my voice giving out and cracking. It took, everything in my personal power just to, not just completely give out in terms of vocal cord ability. So I'm glad I got through that. Not to diminish what the players did as well. I'm not saying no, I'm the real true. No. They played their hearts out. You were there also to cheer them on, so you know how much time and dedication was put into that particular matchup.
Most definitely, and though it wasn't highlighted in those last moments we got to see of that game, you mentioned it earlier, the Watchpoint Gibraltar game. Watchpoint is not in rotation right now. We're not going to see it at all today, thank the heavens. With that being said, Watchpoint Gibraltar, we got to give credit to someone who is no longer a part of the Bronco family, but is still in spirit part of our family because we still bring forth the strategies that he taught us. And that stall that we had on Watchpoint that helped us, drag it out to the full 5-game series was something that was crafted by our former coach Shifty. And those types of strategies we have re-employed. We have asked Shifty to come back and help us out in the past. And it is not only a gift, but it is a special treat for these guys to have Shifty come in and help out in those instances. But truly, that Watchpoint game, unfortunately we didn't get to watch it, is the epitome of these interesting and complex strategies that take a lot of timing, lots of communication between the players that led them to these opportunities that they have here today.
Well, it is 3 minutes till the top of the hour, and that is when the festivities should start. So we have done probably enough talking and revisiting and trying to speculate what we're going to see brought out, but we've done a little bit of speculation. Let's do some more speculation, because I think that's what we all need. We talk about just our general priorities. We know Control is usually picked. We know King's Row is always picked for Hybrid. So let's just go all the way to, we know at least we're going to be going toward Payload. And what do you think are the general picks and counter picks that can be brought out in that?
Okay, so for Payload points, just considering the types of tanks, because, you got to rely on your tanks, that UNLV likes to pull out. Really, it's the Doomfist. It is the Wrecking Ball. On occasion, we'll see a Sigma. On occasion, we'll see a Ramatra. But with that in mind, most likely, that type of map, and just because of the map pool that we currently have, they favor the Widow-heavy maps, which is almost every Escort map. With that being said, most likely, we'll see a Route 66. We'll probably end up seeing that. If not that, Junkertown. Dorado is a little bit iffy because it requires a lot of heavy timing, and if you don't get it just right, well, you could say bye-bye to your front line. So I'm hedging my bet with probably Route 66 or Junkertown being our payload map.
All right, we're going to take a short break and be back at the top of the hour with the Mountain West Grand Finals, UNLV versus Boise State. Who will take home the crown? We'll find out after this.
It's the end of a good day's work in Idaho. Time to punch out. Time to check in and catch up. Time to remind ourselves that what we work for isn't a paycheck. It's to make the good things we have even better. So here's to your good day's work. Idaho Central Credit Union. We believe money is a thing. It's not everything.
Here in Idaho, we do things a little differently. First rule, camouflage never goes out of style. Next, always use fry sauce. I mean, why wouldn't you? Hold steady when out-of-state friends think you're from Iowa. We call it pop, not soda. We always put a lift on our pickups. And we always buckle up because we still have a lot we want to do, and I'm guessing you do too.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Welcome back to the Mountain West Esports Series Championship. It is the grand finals in Overwatch as Boise State takes on longtime rival UNLV. Both these teams have faced off each other for the past, if you count this year, 6 years. UNLV has 3 championship wins, Boise State 2. So today, we'll see if the Broncos can even things up overall or if UNLV will notch ahead yet again. I'm your host, Jacob Palmer, joined by Artemis Rain, calling all of the action for you here today. And Artie, now it's time we get to the game at hand, the best of 5 that is before us, starting out on Oasis.
Yes, and ironically enough, when I was talking to the players before we were getting ready for all of this and before you and I hopped on stage and they got up there, you and I kind of had a moment of not hoping to see Lijiang Tower as the first map, and some players piped up saying it's the perfect map. So I'm very thankful that we are seeing Oasis as our beginning map today. It's a little bit of a change of pace. Will we see Kings Row's second map? Probably.
Probably, most definitely. I mean, we can always go through the standard, ritual that we do of giving the reasons why something else should be chosen. But we'll get to that later when we get to that. Right now, we can predict what version of Oasis we're going to see first.
Okay, I'm going to go with Gardens.
Gardens, okay. I'm feeling more like City Center, we're going to start out with.
And watch us start out on...
Library.
Yeah, on the university map instead, because we're both always wrong when it comes to predicting this sort of stuff. If it is...
but do you think it'll be day or night?
I think it's required daytime.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Oasis, the maps that are not new to Overwatch 2 are required to be their original time of day setting.
Okay.
So Lijiang Night Market is actually a night market. You were right, I think. No, or is this the fly-through?
This might just be the fly-through of all the different stages, but this is City Center.
Yes.
And it does seem like the matches do tend to start out here. Sometimes also if things are just a little bit extra chaotic for the day, the traffic to the site can get involved. And here's Gardens, as you called out. And then there's the one final stage, University, and you were talking a little bit earlier this week about the importance of that high ground plays, and then here on University especially, I'm going to be I'm very eager to see how the tank plays around this, because especially if you get a mobile tank like a Wrecking Ball on there, you can do some shenanigans in the center of that point, hopping between both levels.
It's definitely with both, well, actually all 3 of these maps, the tank you roll out on really determines where you're going to want to set up and bait the enemy team into, or if you're going to want to spearhead yourself into the enemy team. With that being said, it's going to be up to both these squads, and it looks like you were correct with your guess of City Center. I'm going to hedge my bet and say we are jumping into the game now.
Most definitely, as we can hear the music swelling up for the occasion, the Mountain West Grand Finals Spring 2023. We will decide who is the grand champion. No more time for speculation, no more time for waiting. It's going to be decided now. Boise State and UNLV, the Broncos and Rebels, go charging toward the first point. For the first engagement, Boise State's going to be in blue.
And we have Clear rolling out on the Diva. Matt Merck picking up the mantle of playing Sombra. We have Plato on Tracer. Bagel on that Lucio, and Chosen on the Kiko. Already finding 2 eliminations. The Tracer and the Sojourn for the side of UNLV have been sent to spawn. Kernmaster is hacked and goes down.
Boise State seems to be pretty solidly winning this team fight. They're going to be parlaying that into taking the point first. That Kiriko's trying to get away. Hey Doggo just going to be able to escape, but not for any humor. He's sent back to spawn. That's going to put a bit of a stagger onto UNLV and should get Boise State their first capture points.
What's really interesting about these 2 compositions is that despite the tank differential, the rest of the comp is identical. The only sad thing here is that both DPS for UNLV are trailing behind as far as ultimate charge. Tanks are pretty much equal, as well as supports, so really it's going to be UNLV's DPS that need to pick up the slack here.
UNLV, their Tracer, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it to attempt that gamer tag, is moving in. Plato is going to get the pick onto QWERTY Master. Kern is going to fall next. Their Tracer bites the dust as well. Hey Doggo is also eliminated, and once again, another pretty much clean sweep for the Broncos.
Plato, we won't talk about that initial melee whiff on your blink. With that being said, Clear's coming up on EMP. QWERTY Tumor also very close with, well, sorry, Clear's coming up on self-destruct. QWERTY Tumor's very close with his Primal Rage. Plato, Matt Merck, both have their ultimates online. Could we possibly see a Diva EMP with their ults combo?
Well, Boise State is going to bring out the EMP. Goes on to Kern and Hay, but they are able to recover for it. And looks like it's the defense matrix is going to eat up that pulse bomb. Ertz gets a pick onto Bagel. Could be an opening for UNLV to move in. Boise State is going to be moving back to the point off of that 1 pick that the Rebels got. Bagel is trying to get his way back to point as quick as possible. We have a huge fight brewing here over to the side. Sound barrier now coming online for Boise State. In fact, we have both the gold ornaments open for each team. Clear's going to get the pick onto Kern to start things off. A hack goes on to Chosen. Kitsune is popped by UNLV as they try to rush in. Chosen just trying to heal up, buying some time for the Broncos. And Matt Merck with a double pulls through for the Broncos as they are just a few percentage points away from claiming City Center.
The scary thing is that Kitsune Rush typically baits out the enemy team support ultimates. At least one of them, Bagel nor Chosen, use their ults. Instead, we use Kitsune Rush to try and hold the front line here. And we have Hey Doggo, who gets picked up by Plato after a significant amount of damage is done by Diva. Primal Rage is popped just to try to sustain on point a little bit longer. There's possibilities that the enemy Tracer can get on point. Recall is forced. I do not believe they'll have, no, they were eliminated. There is no time for UNLV to touch the point, and that is 100% to 0 for the Broncos on point 1 of Oasis.
A strong statement to start things out for sure. It really wasn't one team fight that the Rebels were able to win in that game, and we also saw some great, kind of hanging in there from the supports. Even when that one pick went on to Bagel, he was able to get back to the team pretty fast. They were able, Bagel and Chosen to survive through a few hacks, as well as UNLV's team too. There's a lot of priority since the Sombra's been brought out on trying to hack those supports. Now as we head on over into Library University, the changes are going to come through in the team comps quite a lot.
Well, the red squad is looking as though they're playing more of a brawl composition. We rolled on the Doomfist and Baptiste. It's going to be UNLV. That is a classic brawl comp. Brian, May, Cassidy. It's wall and maul, days of old Overwatch, whereas the Broncos have chosen a disruption and spam comp with that Tracer Hanzo combination. But Bagel gets incredibly low, taking a lot of poke damage before the fight is even fully started.
Julian a bunch of damage. Kenny's going to get hit by a flame strike. Has to move on out of there. Plato on the Hanzo is just going to rain Fury down from above. Take out Hertz. But it's a 1-for-1 trade as Bagel is also eliminated. Clear is also going to bite the dust. And without their tank, I think Boise State is going to be forced to give out this point to UNLV.
Plato gets eliminated, and it's going to be Matt Merck struggling just to try and stall this out, but the point has already been given over to the side of UNLV. Does not look like the Broncos are planning on swapping anything except for Chosen off the Ana and over to the Baptiste instead, so no antis and no sleeps to protect anyone if there's a sticky situation with a Reinhardt.
Onto the point, Clear goes heading. Ryan is going to try to swing through, but unlike Wrecking Ball, he cannot get up from that lowered point immediately. We're going to see an Immortality field thrown down by the Rebels. Hertz is going to be the first one to fall, but Matt Merck also bites it as well. So 2 DPS is down in this fight, and both teams still pretty even. UNLV still riding that counter up to almost 40%. I think they're going to, nope, they're not going to be able to break 40, but just about.
Breaking that 30% mark is very important, though. Typically, a team that manages to get the first 30% has the higher probability of winning out the map. With that being said, UNLV is coming in with 3 ultimates, almost 4. The Broncos don't have beat online to counter one of those major CC ults. However, the Cassidy with that Deadeye is going to go down before they even make the choke point. Wall early, trying to break off the tank from the backline of Broncos, is going to be removed. Bagel wall rides, manages to get Clear into safety, and they even used Amp Matrix out in the open, so the Broncos disengage and wait.
UNLV has thrown everything that they have to keep this Reinhardt alive. He's going to get walled off again. Ramatra is going to bring out his punches, trying to take him out. Plato eliminates Hey Doggo. High Noon brought out in response. He's going to pick up Bagel. Furry Humor holding on just for health. And after a whole bunch of util to keep him alive, Furry Humor finally gets taken down by the Broncos. The Broncos are not done. Chosen still wants some more. He's going to push up just a little bit, but not too far so that he's at risk of being picked up.
The horrifying truth is that in that moment, I was anticipating an annihilation to come out from Clear, especially after Bagel went down, you know, paying the ultimate in response to losing someone on your team. However, Clear hung on to it, and Hey Doggo already dedicated beat to a previous fight, so Clear is going to be having an opportunity to just eat the front line and the back line and everyone on the side of UNLV alive here with this annihilation. As soon as he gets amped up for Bagel, there's the beat, there's the cue to go aggressive, but he has to drop in the Mayfreeze. Down the pit, our main tank goes.
Plato gets the pick onto Qwerty. Hertz answers it back by taking out Plato. Bagel is also hurting for health. He's going to have to heal up. Clear gets the pick onto Hertz. Kern is going to get frozen solid. And the other support for the Rebels, they are in hot pursuit of him. But he's Lucio. He can just kind of squirrel his way on out of there. Going to have a re-engagement from Qwerty Humor. It's the Doomfist that we were talking about. And Boise State seems ready for that one. Bowling him down. And Boise State claims the first of this best of 5.
The Doomfist swap finally came out, but it was a last-second touch attempt, so, you know, you really got a choice between Doomfist or Wrecking Ball, whichever one you can get the rollout on. We're actually going to have Bagel coming in with the play of the game here. Is it going to be a support ultimate? Is it going to be a multi-kill? That's the question of the day, and it's actually from point 1. Manages to get the boop on the Lucio on Kernmaster? No, it's going to be an elimination onto the enemy Tracer, and then the help on Hey Doggo that's going to find us the first play of the game.
Nice job. I mean, you can see the players there up all on the stage under the unwatchful eye of our dog Haskell, who's no doubt is very proud of that first win, but we still got a ways to go. We got to choose the hybrid stage, and now's the time when we can engage in the pointless ritual of speculation. Okay, if we are to see another stage, and I'm not saying we're going to, we're probably still going to see Keen's Row, but if we are going to see another stage, most likely could be either Eichenwald or Numbani. Those seem to be kind of the 2 sleeper picks that some teams like to bring out.
Honestly, if the comfort, which we didn't surprisingly see it, but we know that Qwerty Tumor is very, very well-rounded on Sigma, Wrecking Ball, Doomfist. Winston is a little iffy considering the DPS that we were able to pull out. I think Blizzard World.
Oh, you know, it's a special occasion, I would say. You know, if you want to have a festivity, then go for that.
Please? Because I mentioned it last time some team decided to bring us to Kings Row.
I think this whole spring semester...
5 losses, guys.
Only once I've been able to visit Blizzard World. So
Just one time. Let me believe that it's a Disneyland that exists. Please, let me live vicariously through over.
nope, it's Kings Row. All right, thank you, production. As soon as we hear that, yep, the head desk comes forward, and it once again is good old Kings Row.
And they're cheering on stage. I get it, guys. It's the perfect map. It is played to the point that every composition, every opportunity to swap, every point of the map, you can make swaps to adapt to enemy playstyles, that sort of stuff. It is, for competitive purposes, perfected. For storytelling and narrative purposes, not so much.
And it's all the way, it's a whole ocean across from Blizzard World as well.
Yes.
You got a huge ocean separating both of them. So we couldn't even give you, okay, we're in the general vicinity of Blizzard World. No, we got to be as far away as possible. But here we are, Kings Row in the classic nighttime stage. And if there was kind of a bell curve for any particular stage, Kings Row always tends to favor those overtime matches and the final point in the factory. Teams holding on for 4, possibly 5 minutes in overtime. I mean, we have seen some incredible fights.
And the one thing I will admit is that Kings Row has spurned creativity as far as the competitive college space for Overwatch goes. I mean, you have the notorious Statue of Liberty play created by Northwoods. You TP the Bastion on top of Mendata's head, but yeah, that was in Overwatch 1 when you had 2 tanks. Can you still accomplish it in Overwatch 2? Theoretically, yes. Is your Bastion more vulnerable? Most definitely. But that being said, considering UNLV got to pick the map, Broncos got to pick sides. Let's find out, are they attack or defense first?
And we actually see Afara being brought out by the attackers. It's just a quick peek out, however. I don't think it's going to be a full pick. Yeah, they swap back. It's going to be Boise State on attack to start things off, up 1 in this best of 3. But Hertz gets the first pick onto Plato, putting a damper on their progress. Clear is going to be fighting to fight with Winston. He's been painting up on the statue. Runs out of punches, has to go back to his standard weapon. Bagel trying to find someone in Hotel is going to meet Hertz face to face. Boise State on positioning is going to be able to claim 1 tick.
One thing that's interesting is we saw Matt Merck wall up the Ana and do it again. Say goodbye to the main source of healing that your team has. Now Bagel's wall riding, trying to see if he can pick off that Hanzo or possibly the Ana. As Kernmaster is sent to spawn, and Tracer's getting run down by the Broncos. Bagel's going to be forced back as well, so that means the opportunity to gain space is decimated right now for the Broncos. They have to be careful about this engage, and we've already forced May Cryo. That is a bad sign.
Oh, this Ana, she can hold her own.
Matt Merck got a little too big for his britches there, I think.
Yep. I see you. It's exactly the type of thing I think a grandma like Ana would say.
I bonded with Hey Doggo during the CECC LAN, so you have my respect as a fellow Ana player.
Plato gonna try to get some sort of angle from the side, maybe to pick off one of those squishies. Not gonna find it. He's gonna retreat. Just throw out a homing arrow for now. Clear still holding down this corner as Boise State has been gradually pushing the payload up through the streets. Trying to see attention split as Hertz on the Tracer is just dashing all over the place, being the general gadfly that Tracer can be.
Yes, you create chaos, you take away cooldowns, but Clear, even with the anti, goes forward, gets slept. 40 Tumor is going to be sent to respawn. Matt Merck picking them up, and Kernmaster is going to be returned to the spawn as well by Plato, but Matt Merck is punished first for the Broncos. Plato returning the favor onto the enemy Hanzo.
There are 2 rebels behind the Broncos. Plato takes care of one of them very fast. We'll see how this Ana can do. And no survivability that time.
All right, hear me out. A 1v1 against the DPS as an Ana is a little different. A 2v1 when one of them has speed boost, you're probably going to lose.
Now we're already into the 3rd and final section of the stage. Boise State north of 5 minutes to get to the final point. Just hanging out on the payload right now, just trying to get a few shots in here and there. See Soundberry is brought online. Plato is going to bring out that Dragon Strike. Doesn't find anybody. Clear is going to find himself anti to use his Annihilation in response. And Soundberry also brought out for Boise State. Kern and Hato, the entire backline falls, and And this Winston cannot stand in the face of Boise State. He only is able to pick up Plato.
The scary part is that beat only landed on both of the supports who were dealing with that nanoed Winston. However, it paid off. We did end up losing one of our DPS. Plato is being forced back to go taxi Plato, one of those players who did not get the sound barrier and a billion hit points in the words of the April Fool's voice line.
Player is waiting for a sneaky flank onto the back line. He has his punches. He is waiting. He throws out his abilities. Hertz is going to go down to half health. Turn is next on the list. Now here come the punches. There goes one. Turn taken out by Matt Merck. And well, you know what? It was a nice thought, but sometimes punching wildly into the air is not going to get you what you want. UNLV takes that with a triple brought out by Hertz. This Cassidy cannot be stopped.
You can see our supports dancing around natural cover to avoid that Deadeye.
Can he get one more? Yes, he can. He's basically gotten everyone on Boise State. Nice job, Hertz, keeping the Rebels in it.
Possible play of the game from Cassidy.
Very thematically appropriate, too, for a state like Nevada.
Yes.
Cassidy, he just comes in. Just gets it.
That's forced Suzu and jump from Winston. Gonna go back to the high ground. Clear grabs the Mega Pack. Hertz is cut off all by themselves. We're gonna send up the wall. Out goes enemy Dragons. Clear at sub half health. He's forced to use Nemesis form and getting chasing down 3 for Suzu. That's a free annihilation. Down goes the Cassidy. Can they pick up the Kiriko? Down goes Kernmaster. Down goes Heidogo. Oh, Plato went down in our backline to a nanoed Hanzo.
That nanoed Hanzo can't stand in the face of Clear. One final punch, and Boise State claims the final point. 3 minutes left in overtime. Very hefty amount, but we saw definitely the Rebels, you know, one of their DPSs is given the chance, can certainly pop off, and play was definitely on Hertz here, who kind of single-handedly stopped the entire Broncos. Also, I mean, you call this Nemesis form. Can I just personally call it Punchy form, because that's what I know it as.
Yes, most definitely. I have others refer to it as Big Boy.
Okay, that's a good name as well. Let's just let everyone have their pet name for that.
Why not? Now the question is, can UNLV respond to our Punchy Boy Ramatra, who is clear currently for the Broncos? I'm not entirely positive. We pulled out the Winston to try and play, you know, the dive game into the spam that the Broncos were pulling out, but it didn't quite work out. Again, it came down to that timing of your ability usage in respect to not only yourself as the tank, but in respect to your DPS, because it really relies on them. Dive does not have a lot of damage as a single person on the team. It relies upon the follow-up from someone else.
Boise State's now going to be pushed onto defense. They were able to take the first point in their first fight, so it's going to be a question of if the pace is matched by UNLV. Even though Boise State might looks like they have the advantage, remember this first point is particularly difficult to hold based on how far back that spawn is. And we're going to play a bit of peekaboo here as well.
We're going to play a bit of Bastion play as well.
Interesting.
I'm anticipating we're not going to see our Bastion peak until people are almost onto the point. We have quick swaps of the support line for the side of UNLV. Kernmaster and Heidogo both swapping over to that Lucio Baptiste, and Cordy Toomer picking up the Ramatra with the Mei and Hanzo. So almost identical to the composition the Broncos pulled out on first attack, and they do manage to eliminate Clear.
It's a big pick. Boise State does not have their tank, and Plato falls as well. Matt Merck is the only DPS left, and he is running scared from the Rebels. As they go past their second tick, we might be able to have a re-engage from the Broncos. It would be very late. Hertz moving back on toward the point. Broncos now ready to drop down, but already Chosen's going to take a lot of damage. Forces Suzu out, not going to be able to survive through that. Now Clear is also being mowed down by the Rebels. Clean win for them. They take the payload.
Plato swaps immediately over to the Hanzo. So I think this is an instance of the Broncos got a little bit too funny, and the side of the Rebels definitely capitalized on that cattywampus comp the Broncos tried to set up with.
Master is going to play payload duty just for right now. The rest of the team is going to be moving up. They're going to hand it over to Lucio. Simple, we often see that. Boise State is going to have to deal with an amp matrix that has just been brought online by Kern. He's not using it quite yet. Oh, and they're going to be able to wall off Clear. They throw down the Amp Matrix. That's going to force the nade to be thrown onto Clear to heal him all the way back up. Immortality Field thrown down for UNLV as well. Because Clear survived through that thanks to the quick play by Bagel. UNLV is going to retreat just for now.
That Amp Matrix was almost perfect to fully fend off the Broncos had it been just a little bit further, but Clear is going to pick up 2. Plato did go down, but Hertz and the Hanzo for the side of UNLV are gone. It is just 42mer and Heidogo left standing. Heidogo desperately trying to escape. Wall riding to safety is not a possibility against Bagel's Ana.
Now Bagel takes a vantage point all the way back toward Archway. UNLV is going to have 3 ultimates available for this fight. Boise State coming up on 4. Just wait until we see who ults first, who's going to set the pace.
See the rotation on the high ground.
Yeah, Matt Mark going for quite a flank. Is going to go right on. Actually, just going to go back toward Boise State. Themselves.
UNLV is trying to utilize the high ground rotation to flip this point and force the Broncos into basically the position of the attackers on the low ground. But the issue with this game of Ring Around the Rosie is that it chews so much of your timer. Hertz is going to find Plato, and we're going to have Hanzo take down Chosen. Hertz goes down to Clear, but 42mer found Matt Merck, and right now it looks like UNLV is going to become out victorious of this fight just in front of Archway.
The one scenario where the survivability of the tank can actually work against you. It staggers you out, but Clear's holding his own. He's able to take out their Hanzo. Back into Nemesis form. UNLV's attention is divided between him and Bagel. Now that Bagel calls, all the attention is going to be going back onto Clear. He barely survives by picking up the health pack. He is running away. The entire Rebel squad is chasing him. And he burned so much time off from them.
It took all 5 members to kill 1 tank. 42mer then responds by popping Nemesis and eviscerating the remainder of the Broncos over there without a front line. I respect it, but holy cow, 5 of you?
Clear can stand up against anybody. But hey, you do what you got to do to win the team fight, and UNLV has done that. They're going to make their way to the checkpoint. Going to have 3 minutes, 52 seconds left to make it to the final point. Kitsune has already been popped by Boise State to start things off. No one found by that there. Hanzo gets hit with the sleep charge. Bagel using his nano boost. Teleport's going to be thrown out. Matt Merck, can see do the teleport. He swapped over to the Symmetra.
It was to allow the Broncos enough time without forcing a Lucio swap to get to the payload and contest it, but unfortunately they did give it up, so UNLV has point 2. Looks like Hertz will find Plato. Broncos are down 1. Kernmaster goes down. Their spawn is closer than the side of the Broncos. Question is, can Broncos clean this fight up fast enough to declare a full win before the full force of UNLV comes out?
Clear is going to try his game once again of standing up against everybody, and he is able to take out Hey Doggo. Got 3 minutes left for UNLV, and Bagel is finding himself pressured a bit. Hanzo is in hot pursuit, and he's just dodging and weaving in between back and forth, breakdancing
Find that elimination!
with this
Come on,
Ana, and gets it!
It was an unfair fight to begin with, but nonetheless, pulling the attention of 2 for that long is ridiculous.
UNLV now has 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. Everyone's back on the payload. Moving forward and around the first corner. They still have enough time to push this into overtime. Make it to the final point.
Chosen goes down early. That is not someone you want to lose. That Suzu is insanely powerful. Bagel has nano to compensate, but the question is, when are the Broncos going to start popping ults? And we're going to see both Ramatras use the slow. We have the nano go out onto Clear, force the cryo from May, force the wall, and UNLV is backing off to regain their cooldowns.
Chosen's just trying to find any of those headshots that he can. Gonna head back towards Plato. Oh, Bernie Humor greens out the Annihilation, and that takes out Matt Merck. State also has the Dragon Strike that was just used, and they're going to use Photon Barrier as well. Hey Doggo uses the Sound Barrier for the survivability, and UNLV is now pushing forward even more. They're able to eliminate Plato. Chosen finds himself in a rough spot, manages to get out of there and survive, and Clear is definitely going to be appreciating that healing and support he's getting this time.
One thing I didn't even think about of the versatility that comes with Symmetra, I mean, more or less the utility, is that Photon Barrier actually stops that Ramattra ult. Though it looks like it goes through barriers, it does not. So it definitely weakens that timer, trickling down the time a lot faster because it cannot latch onto more targets. It did allow a little extra survivability for the Broncos. Matt Merck has now decided to swap over to the Bastion, say bye-bye to the Symmetra play.
Brings out turret form. There Hanzo eliminates Chosen. Taken out of it. Tsune rush used by Boise State. Master has the Amp Matrix. Hurts very close on the Blitz, and that's consistently flipped the team fight over towards UNLV. They have the same idea. They're going to use it. Boise State, and Merck gets frozen, is able to survive through that. Vagel taking out Quirty Humor. Those two eliminations, I think, could be enough for the Broncos to claim this outright. No need for overtime.
With 18 seconds remaining, your assumption is most likely correct. Let's say Doggo can manage to get in, avoid enough damage to get a foot on that payload within the last 3 seconds of the timer. Otherwise, it is GG, go next map.
Humor's trying the best to get to the point payload. 3 of them were able to teleport onto payload. Dragon Strike takes out Vagel. Plato is going to have their pulse bomb negated by that immortality field. And even though UNLV, they've gotten 2 eliminations, and that's what they need, Boise State isn't able to meet them on point.
Hurts making the swap to the Symmetra, and just the 3 members that managed to make it through that TP into the high window and across were the saving grace for the side of UNLV. We used Pulse Bomb, forced out the immortality field from the Baptiste, but they still lived. With that being said, though, UNLV has no time left on the clock.
They have no room for error in overtime. So will Boise State move on to match point, or will UNLV guarantee that we're going to be seeing a push map brought into the fray? Going to find out very soon.
This is 1 tick for the Broncos, and that is it. 33% is all they need. Question is, how are they going to do it? What composition are they going to pull out first?
This is the thing where even if you are doing well and have a lot of picks against the other team, you're only playing with 1 tick. And sometimes just, in being sneaky and being able to get a flank and just, capturing it from behind, you're able to get 1 tick.
Looks like they're going to take the safe choice, not play inside of the statue early to try and get intel. They're going to wait, see what the Broncos decide to bring out instead.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Trying to.
1.
It looks like they have a Brigida on the back.
Defend objective A.
No way. No, it's a Lucio. Okay.
All right, Boise State now heads into overtime, needing to claim this first point. Lucio's going to try to wall ride around the hotel sign. Looks like Boise State wants to try to take the route through hotel. I think UNLV is. A whole lot of damage being placed out. Matt Merck's going to find himself walled off. And that's going to leave Clear on the point, desperately trying to survive. He is just barely hanging on thanks to the healing put out by Chosen.
Another wall goes up. Chosen just uses his boost to jump over it. Matt Merck gets sub half health, as does Plato. We do see Hey Doggo and Kernmaster, the supports for UNLV, both go down. So Ramacho's got to live with no health from his team. Goes down, and now it is just this Hanzo left inside hotel, and the May. May is eliminated, and it's going to be Hanzo sent away, and an extra pulse bomb as the bow on top of the final gift to UNLV on Kings Row.
That's going to do it for Kings Row. Boise State wins that one as well. Is ready to move on to the final stage. They want to go 3-0 undefeated. Clear is going to pick up the play of the game. And I mean, when the entire enemy team is focusing on you and you still manage to survive against them, you're a force to be reckoned with.
There's really no question of what is the play of the game or who should be the MVP, at least for that map. No biases are being created just yet for you, Clear. I need to be able to see everybody as we're getting a view of the stage and our players who are looking very positive. Now, this is the map we discussed.
Now we get to actually predict something in terms of the stages.
I'm really hedging my bet on Blizzard World.
That's not a. We're into payload now.
Oh shoot, you're right. Yeah. Okay, payload. Yeah.
I mean, I
Junkertown.
wish there was a payload version of Blizzard World so we could have 2 chances to see it.
Actually, wait, no, we don't want Junkertown. Probably Route 66.
Yeah, you said at the very beginning we were probably going to see a Route 66.
Yeah, I think Junkertown, just the way our DPS operate, is not a good idea.
That's fair. Boise State also had a bit of a tough time pushing through on Junkertown last time they played, so they might try to change it up. We also, speaking of change up, we have Lyric and Goblin rotating in.
So Matt Merck's coming out, Goblin's coming in for DPS, Lyric is in for Bagel on support. Really, this could mean anything, but I do think that possibly means we're going to Junkertown. Just knowing that Goblin favors the sniper players, those very much so. I can do anything so long as they're all the way across the map, but as soon as they swap to dive me, I need every single support cooldown in the game.
That is that is true. It's very, very punishing if you aren't able to land those shots, but it looks like your intuitions and predictions, Nerdy, are proving correct because we are moving on to Route 66.
I'm very interested to see what variation of tank the side of UNLV decides to go with here. Now, in the years of old, Broncos, you know, when we didn't get to pick map and we picked sides, typically wanted to defend first. But now there is the thing that comes with attacking first. You get one extra fight, technically speaking, by attacking first, so most likely they will be attacking. With that being said, on defense, we might see a Sigma, we might see an Orisa, but I'm not really positive if Orisa play would really work out too much considering just the mobility that the Broncos bring to the table.
And overall, in terms of Route 66, I'm a bit jaded because, I mean, it's such a cool stage, especially, you know, you're going through the old western town, you get into the deadlock gains, layer as you will. But we rarely, if ever, see that because a lot of times if Boise State's starting out defending on Route 66, we don't even make it past the gas station.
My favorite homage that is actually in the game is Cassidy saying, "Don't drink the coffee, it tastes like dirt," which is a reference to Men in Black. If any of you are familiar with that, it's because, you know, it was just ground this morning. I'm old, but that is my favorite reference. The first time I heard him say that, I was like, oh my gosh.
It's always nice when a reference like that is thrown in. And no, don't worry. I won't judge you for immediately dating yourself, but, you know.
I appreciate it.
All right. Well, we're going to head into Route 66, see what other dated references we can throw out. I'm sure I have a lot of them, too, as we are ready to go to what could be the very final stage in the championships. Boise State versus UNLV down to Route 66 to decide it all. UNLV has to pull off a reverse sweep at this point.
That's never an easy task. Broncos on stage are hyped. They're saying, we're going to do this. This is it. Last map, let's go. Is this going to be the final destination for our Broncos? If they have their way, yes. Now, if the side of UNLV does, well, they'll be on a train to 310 to Yuma. I'm going to make as many spaghetti Western and Western movie references as I can.
I appreciate it. Well, there's we see a Doomfist being brought out, and we haven't seen Boise State really be known for using a Doomfist, so I think Boise State might try to see how far they can push out.
No way. If the Broncos bring out a Doomfist, I will be disappointed in them.
And why would that be?
Because it's a tank that is so easily countered, and the issue with playing a tank that is easily countered is that the rock, paper, scissors game favors the attacking team because they have the sooner ability to swap. They see you, they walk back, they swap. But the Broncos are actually the ones on attack, and we have clear on the Diva once again, and Cordy Tumors the one on Doomfist.
And Boise State brought out the Far Mercy composition. So UNLV, a lot of pressure is going to be placed onto Hertz to take those threats out of the air. A whole lot of damage being placed down onto Kernmaster. Boise State gets the first pick, and now they're after Cassidy. He gets taken down in an instant thanks to help from Clear.
Oh, on Yeesh, Goblin, you are a nemesis on the Pharah.
Definitely so, and Boise State now making way past the first gas station. Does look like I will be able to see more of this stage. I'm glad that's the case. Already on the ultimate charges here, Goblin is up to 73.
No one is anywhere near close, but really it comes down to that ability to get a blue beam from Mercy. We have Doomfist charging on Chosen. The
wow.
sleep gets canceled by the punch against the wall. And we have Clear in Baby Diva form, only 70% to Remake, possibly able to get a crunch kill on someone here, but if Lyric dies, that is going to be GG, go next fight. And down goes Clear in Remake animation. Yes, Broncos have to back up and reset.
No thanks to that double from the Ashe being brought out. Now we've got the leader of the Deadlock gang defending her home turf. Very thematic, I love it. UNLV waiting for the Broncos to round this hairpin turn. We're already poking his head out. Plato, you can also see him off to the side, is just going to kind of move to push that payload. One of UNLV now goes back, stop and contest it. Goblin is also waiting on this rocket barrage. Could have something huge lined up. He moves in, he gets one, goes for two, and Hurts throws the grenade onto him and says, no thank you. I'm not dealing with that today.
Plato has Pulse Bomb, sticks it onto the Doomfist, who gets Nano to sustain. Hidalgo is eliminated by Clear, as is the Ashe, and now we have 2 on payload. That is first checkpoint with 4 minutes and 13 seconds on the clock to get to the second point.
UNLV is also sitting on 2 ultimates to use. Very soon here they've got this Deadeye, which is going to be brought online, as well as Bob and Sound Barrier. If UNLV maybe pops those too soon, decides the pace of this game, they could stop Boise State right in their tracks.
Calling it now, the self-destruct is going to find. Watch it now, finally get tired. Said that.
Probably. Oh, there. Kern went really low on health. He's going to be able to survive, though. Stick in there. Chosen is going to use the nano boost. It's thrown onto Goblin. Getting too much mileage out right now. They're using those buildings as good cover, and here comes Bob.
And Hidalgo goes down, but Bob finds Lyric right now. Equalize. UNLV is ahead by 2. Goblin's going to swap over to the Pharah, say goodbye. Well, swap over to Widow, say goodbye to Pharah. Double hit scam with a Pharah is never really a game you want to play. Clear goes down. That's a full reset for the Broncos. We're going to see any other swaps come out, possibly, but there really isn't a full necessity to make any other swaps other than that Pharah.
Goblin has gone over to the Widow. With a chance for him to prove his sniping skills. Speculating that he might want to go on to a sniper. And the countdown goes. Boise State collapses into the other team, immediately takes 2. They're loose. Their Ana is also hurting for time, for health. Curran is going to help them get away. Now this Cassie is quickly collapsed on. The supports are left. Hidalgo facing off against Lyric Clear. They're both taken out. Boise State is now going to gain a bunch of territory off of this.
While Lyric was dueling it out against Hidalgo on that Ana, we actually saw just the silhouette of Goblin wrap around all the way on the left side and get that final headshot to confirm the kill. No one was the wiser to the creeping Widowmaker. We still have this self-destruct. Hang on to it for 2 fights. Will Doomfist even be able to make it out this door if we decide to drop it in this doorway and confirm that no one else goes forward? Beat gets dropped to force the engage for the side of UNLV. Broncos decide to back off and bide their time as Goblin gets dangerously low.
They're only a few meters away from the second checkpoint. Clear very low on health, going to be taken out. The Baby Diva form. Does find the Remac. Goes in now, just putting down some heals. See, QWERTY is really trying to get in this backline, find any sort of squishy, but Boise State is just denying him time and time again. We're going to see the infrared sights, nano boost brought out by the Broncos. Only Hurts is left, and they pick him up. Full team wipe.
We see 2 swaps come out for the side of UNLV, picking up the Cassidy and picking up the Kiriko. Hurts still remaining on the Tracer 42. We're not swapping off of this Doomfist. Lyric still has beat, but that's the only ult confirmed currently. Plato coming up on Pulse Bomb. Question is, will it find value? Considering there's a Suzu, a tactical roll, and a nade. It's recall online, but Cassidy goes down to Goblin before the fight even starts.
Boise State is already making good progress on this final point. Moving in, Lyric to back up his team. He has a sound barrier. He is going to use it. Hey Doggo also used the nano boost. UNLV, they decided to boost this Doomfist. He's going to use his Meteor Strike, but nothing is really landing against the Broncos. They're all staying alive, and they're all just kind of whittling down UNLV little by little. Spawn now available for Hertz. Is he going to find one to stick it on? He gets it onto Goblin.
On Goblin's legs. Now the Broncos are down one. Chosen is dangerously low, gets healed up by a Lyric. Clear is close to self-destruct. 42er and Kernmaster both go down for the side of UNLV. Clear pushing into that backline, forcing Tracer and Ana to play more defensively. Ana is destroyed by micro missiles, as is Tracer. Most likely that is the last touch for UNLV, as there's a bomb on point. 42er stalled out. 1 minute, 18 seconds. Broncos locked down Route 66.
And now it is just one turn on defense to decide if the Broncos will be crowned yet again Mountain West Overwatch champions.
Initiating match.
We can see here Clear as this final push occurred, rounded the corner, had the engage from our Plato on Tracer to pinch off the 2 remaining members left standing. Now the question is, can UNLV finish with time and finish with over a minute?
It's a tall task, that's for sure. We were talking about references, were we not?
I sell propane and propane accessories.
Again, to date ourselves. So at least I got to point out a dated reference too.
I'm glad both of us can. Now we know that the Broncos are on defense first, and seeing Goblin pull out on the Pharah again, forcing someone onto the Mercy again. For some supports, it's not being forced. For other supports, it is a death sentence. With that being said, I'm very concerned. Counter swap is very fast again, as I mentioned, for the attacking side. So we know we're probably going to see swaps over to the Ashe Cassidy again, possibly a Widowmaker, and a quick head tap onto the Widow. You can then fall back, swap off, have your tank engage, and prevent the res. Now the question is, will UNLV do that as soon as they recognize that we have this Pharah coming out from Goblin?
Keep in sight, and this will go smoothly.
Waiting for the initial fluctuations in those health bars to see how well Goblin is able to get a pick.
There's the first swap. Hertz has swapped over off Ponzo to the Ashe to try and get some damage down onto Goblin, or force Diva back with that first Dynamite. Does land on Clear, but he goes to the high ground for safety and forces back the Genji instead.
UNLV is finding a way to stay alive through all of this Pharah damage. We're going to move up to the top of the gas station, throw down the Winston shield. Goblin picks up Genji. Now moving forward, they force UNLV back. He's taken out their other DPS. And Kern and Daydog are also going to fall
Goblin,
all the way back to start.
Stop waving, Goblin! Stop! This man is just adding insult to injury. We now have the Cassidy and the Ashe, and they're even swapping over to Diva. That just demonstrates how much of a menace Goblin is currently being on this Pharah. First one in the lobby with ult, all the way charged. Next closest is Clear at 90%.
Minutes, 30 seconds left for UNLV to make their way to the first checkpoint. Back up
Big
to the
bomb.
top of the gas station.
Big bomb. Come on, Clear. Get play of the game.
Trying to line it up.
Come on.
Just the Masters are being
Ball.
played right now, just like a chip shot.
Oh, okay, I get it. You gotta protect the play of the game coming out from the Pharah. That's a 2-piece for Goblin and a 1 for Plato, but where's my self-destruct?
Gonna see it. Like I said, it's just like lining up a golf shot. Just gotta tee it up.
It takes time, understanding of geometry, a little bit of physics.
Patience. Maybe a little luck.
Lots of things I don't have.
They're still hanging on to it. Doesn't think that now is the right time.
Ooh.
Kern gets the pick onto Plato.
Is now the right time? Is now the time?
I don't know if now is the time, but it's certainly a time when the Broncos are struggling, especially Clear. He's going to be taken out of his mech, and yeah.
Man, the last time Bomb was used for remake as well. I am sad, but that's okay. Current Master healing up Diva, and it looks like UNLV is at least going to be able to clean the corner around gas station. And they're not making the mistake the Broncos initially did, which is getting overzealous, pushing past that canyon archway over on the right-hand side, and they're disengaging as soon as they see the front line to try and bait out extra cooldowns. Clear has used rocket boosters. This is an opportunity for them to start pelting damage onto Clear. And we've even taken the opposite high ground. Kitsune Rush is dedicated by Kernmaster. Heidago still has this nano online. 42 are very close to self-destruct. The question is, who is going to use the next ult to secure this fight?
And there goes the bomb. Isn't going to get anybody.
I mean, Lyric did just Hurricane and go full Battle Mercy and take down Hurt, so I'm roughly satisfied with that one. However, Cassidy will then find Lyric and Plato, and Chosen is forced to back off.
First checkpoint claimed by UNLV, and Boise State is retreating. Goblin now gets the Rocket Barrage on. Nano Boost also available.
Nano Barrage most likely coming in.
Oh,
The Ana's dead. Nano Barrage.
Nope.
Oh, wait, never mind. Yeah, that was our Chosen. That's not good. Lyric, you can't res that, my friend. Oh, no, Lyric! Lyric, you cannot res that! And now, okay, Goblin might be able to make it out. Don't get greedy here. There's only a mini in there. Yeah, he's backing off. I heard someone in the crowd say get greedy, and that makes me very sad.
It's just like, well, it's just like Ash says. Don't sass me. You don't sass her. She'll make you pay.
He's getting greedy. Yeah.
Oh.
And just to add insult to injury, it's Heidago to eliminate our Pharah, not even a DPS.
It's like saying, hey, our RM is still alive. Look what we can do.
Nano Mercy. Nano
Oh
Mercy.
my goodness, QWERTY Humor. He's going to get hit with the sleep charge.
It's too late to go out for the res now.
Yeah, here we go. There it goes. Now we're going to go to Nano Barrage. Oh,
Nope,
Goblin took a bit of damage.
Too much time has been spent. We can't go for the Nano Barrage. This is just to buy space.
Well, it is going to buy us still a good amount of space. This might not be a Nano Barrage, but a normal Barrage might just be enough. QWERTY Humor is going to get taken out of their mech, and yep.
Just for extra measure.
That's a good bit of frustration release for Goblin.
Yeah, but it's also a sigh of relief for anyone that was concerned about Justice raining from above them when they weren't expecting it, you know, coming down from the high ropes with the steel chair, so to speak, because the barrage was expelled when everyone was jumping off the bat. Plato's going to go down, diving deep into the back line after using two blinks. Suzu is forced from Kernmaster. We have Kitsune Rush to claim this high ground, but self-destruct from Clear. Is it going to be big? It's not going to find anybody.
The thing that's finding a lot of people is this Deadeye that was just brought out by Cassidy.
Yeah, and considering how much you and I used to harp on Deadeye being really useless, Cassidy for UNLV is making it work.
Oh, Plato!
The recall. Okay, we still had recall.
Why you don't go into a back alley alone, because that was scary.
Hello.
That was about as jump scary as Overwatch can get.
Most definitely, but looking at the time banks we have here, there is theoretically no way UNLV is going to be able to cap this point with equal or more time than the Broncos. They're going to have to settle for playing probably with less than a minute on their last leg for the first push in overtime. And it looks like we have the Genji swap, but, you know, Genji was sent back to the cave by the devs for a reason. You should keep him there. First eliminated, QWERTY Tumor gets antied. We have Kitsune Rush, Bob, and self-destruct. Heidago goes down, though, and that's most likely a reset.
It is going to be a reset for UNLV. QWERTY Humor is going to get taken out of their mech.
Oh, that's tragic.
Genji is also going to get found out by Boise State. Now trying to move up the side. Plato pulls away.
We're going to see a big pulse. Oh, that was a big ante.
Oh, now we have the pulse available. And you know what? Clear's just going to take care of everything before Plato can even use that pulse.
Clear came in and cleaned up.
Doing Clear things. So now Plato's just looking after one, maybe.
Oh, we're going to get a sneaky pulse bomb?
Might just. Okay, sees the Genji should jump up.
Oh, Heidago's right there.
Oh, no.
There has to be a perfect...
Oh.
okay, the stick didn't land, but I was like, it's up to Kern Master to save Hidalgo. But no one went to go find Plato afterwards. Are you kidding me?
He still has free reign over this, and he takes UNLV. Bob is going to be thrown out onto the payload. UNLV has less than 30 seconds. Shot from Clear is going to take out their Genji. It's traded back with the pick on the Chosen. Plato is able to pick up Hidalgo. Will Remac.
Be online from Lyric, who's battling it out on the payload, forces self-destruct from Diva, uses that speed to help get the team away. 6 seconds left. Can anyone from the side of UNLV get a touch? It might be the Genji who's first to be eliminated at the end of the last fight. And B comes out. Overtime was instigated. Kernmaster tries to get just a skate on that payload. Cannot. Plato goes down. And Hertz goes down as well. We see Cordy Toomer bring out the Wrecking Ball. Is it time to play spin to win? You have 8 seconds to sustain, but instead you get booped and you get sent to the Shadow Realm.
And that's going to do it. Boise State sweeps it 3-0. Claims Mountain West Championship again. All tied up for the 6 years these two teams have met. Boise State now has 3 wins to match the Rebels.
All right, so 2024 is truly the year of the make or break moment. We're going to see
Very true.
highlights here. Clear coming in, playing cleanup crew.
Especially this was the moment when we were, trying to say this pulse bomb is going to be the big
yeah.
play, and then Clear said, no, I want to take the play of the game for myself.
We were baited.
We were. But I'm sure Clear and the rest of the team is not complaining. A win is a win no matter how you slice it. So congrats to the Broncos for winning the championships. And once again, the Broncos are the Mountain West 2023 champions.
That is 3 for the Broncos, 3 for UNLV. We're tied now. I'm just trying to hear the weird things that are being said outside. The question is, who's going to take it next year? We have triple crowns on both sides. Best of luck, UNLV, in the year of 2024.
So now's the time when we can overall just give any specific shout-outs to any specific player. I know Clear was able to land some recognition just for that game, but anyone overall in the match who stood out to you?
I mean, as much as I really want to try and highlight other people, there were moments where we had some kooky stuff going on with our supports, especially on that Kings Row map. And I gotta look at this from the production brain, and every time I do, I still get it wrong. I'm gonna vote for Clear for our player of the match. If anyone has a counter argument, please present it now. Please.
Well, I can't really think of one.
Exactly.
I was trying to pull something out there, but I couldn't think of anything.
I mean, when we have a player that has 5 people turn on him to take him down, I think that's a sign that that person obviously is very dominant and deserves the title of the ICCU Player of the Match.
Yeah, I really can't disagree with that. So overall, a very nice game for the Broncos and the Rebels. The Broncos are going to take it, and we get to see who is going to be the player of the game. It is going to be given over to Matt Merck instead.
I'm happy to be wrong in this instance.
And why are you so happy?
Well, because Matt Merck is, one of our resident tank players, but is also capable of flexing onto that DPS and definitely demonstrated some great DPS skill in this game against UNLV. So I'm happy. Of course, I want to see, as a support player, I want to see support. But to see it not go to Plato playing Sojourn, which he did not today, side note, happy to see that, or, Clear or Matt Merck playing just Ramatra off cooldown, this was a nice breath of fresh air.
Matt Merck is going to be your player of the game, brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player makes a team more successful, just like how Idaho Central helps its members achieve financial success. Matt Merck is your ICCU player of the game. He's also closest to the camera there, so that kind of worked out serendipitously. Well, that is going to do it for the Overwatch Grand Championships. That is not all that we have for you today. We also have the League of Legends Championships coming up. We're going to see who takes that crown. We also have top 5 plays of the game brought to you by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time. More than 10 jobs offering a $20,000 bonus and your degree of choice paid for. Idaho Army National Guard is one of the best teams to join out there. Reach out to them at iGuard Gaming. But enjoy your top 5 plays of the game. We'll be back with some player interviews after this. can tick. We might be able to have a re-engage from the Broncos. It would be very late. Hurts moving back on toward the point. Broncos now ready to drop down, but already Chosen's going to take a lot of damage. Forces Suzu out, not going to be able to survive through that. Now Clear is also being mowed down by the Rebels. Clean win for them. They take the payload. Take out their Hanzo. Back into Nemesis form. UNLV's attention is divided between him and Bagel. Now that Bagel falls, all the attention is going to be going back onto Clear. He barely survives by picking up the health pack. He is running away. The entire Rebel squad is chasing him.
God.
And he burned so much time. Goes, Boise State collapses into the other team, immediately takes two. They're loose. Their Ana is also hurting for time, for health. Curran is going to help them get away. Now this Cassie is quickly collapsed on. The supports are left. Doggo facing off against Clear. They're both. We got 3 minutes left for UNLV. And Bagel is finding himself pressured a bit. Hanzo is in hot pursuit. And he's just dodging and weaving in between back and forth. Breakdancing.
Find that elimination!
With this
Come on,
Ana.
and cut off all by themselves. We're going to send up the wall. Out goes enemy Dragons Clear at sub half health. Is forced to use Nemesis form and getting chasing down 3-4 Suzu. That's a free annihilation. Down goes the Cassidy. Can they pick up the Kiriko? Down goes Kernmaster. Down goes Heidogo. Oh, Plato went down.
It's the end of a good day's work in Idaho. Time to punch out. Time to check in and catch up. Time to remind ourselves that what we work for isn't a paycheck. It's to make the good things we have even better. So here's to your good day's work. Idaho Central Credit Union. We believe money is a thing. It's not everything.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here in Idaho, we do things a little differently. First rule, camouflage never goes out of style. Next, always use fry sauce. I mean, why wouldn't you? Hold steady when out-of-state friends think you're from Iowa. We call it pop, not soda. We always put a lift on our pickups. And we always buckle up because we still have a lot we want to do, and I'm guessing you do too.
It's the end of a good day's work in Idaho. Time to punch out. Time to check in and catch up. Time to remind ourselves that what we work for isn't a paycheck. It's to make the good things we have even better. So here's to your good day's work. Idaho Central Credit Union. We believe money is a thing. It's not everything.
Hello and welcome back to the Boise State Esports Arena. We just wrapped up our game between the Broncos and UNLV to claim the Mountain West Championship title in Overwatch for the 2023 season. And I am going to be on desk right now with our post-game show, starting out with Plato, one of our DPS players. Nerdy Bird here, Artemis Rain, joined by Brian Cran. All right, so I'm not going to give you any softballs. Doc said to be soft, but I'm not going to be soft.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, so I guess this one's a little soft. Were you able to play any heroes that you kind of were really hoping to in that game?
Listen, the Bastion showed up on Kings. I was getting hard flamed. I wanted to whip it out on defense of Route 66. They wouldn't let me do it. They wouldn't let me cook. It was rough. I know I would have went 40-0 easily if I was on the Bastion.
He walked right into it. I didn't even have to bring it up. I mean, I thought you weren't going to peek. I was like, okay, Plato's going to peek late. We're going to see him come out and just decimate all those squishy. And no, you were like one of the first two eliminations.
Yeah, it was bad. We got walled. I peeked. They all looked at me. I died. Turns out Bastion's kind of trash. Unlucky.
With that being said, were you at all concerned going into the Kings Row pick because you guys did actually lose to this UNLV on Kings Row previously?
Kings Row is easily our best map. Well, we got like that 97% win rate statistic, so I was confident on it. We were having fun. We played the comp that we always play in scrims. Usually Kings is our good map, so everyone performed very well.
All right,
I think I probably did the worst, but did well.
Well, with that being said, we're going to take a quick look at some of your highlights from today's games. I mean, you definitely popped off on Tracer. Went toe-to-toe with once again, a Tracer name that Gem nor I are willing to try to announce. I apologize for that. But additionally, you were kind of the sleeper agent on Route 66 because we had Goblin on the Pharah taking so much attention. Was it kind of just a walk in the park for you?
He was cooking. My main goal, I wanted Goblin to cook in the Mountain West Finals as much as he could on Pharah, so I was just trying to run in and make them look at me and not him.
All right.
Because they're playing double hit skins, so.
So we are now equalized with UNLV and Mountain West. Next year, both teams have triple crowns. You have the opportunity to finish the Thanos Gauntlet, get all four. Do you think you're going to do it?
Listen, we're on that track, and we are going 90 miles per hour right now, and we show no signs of stopping. So we are going to get it. We're going to do our best. We're going to make sure that we get the work in, and we're going to try and keep on track for the next semester. Hopefully it looks very good.
All right, well, that has been Plato, one of our amazing DPS players who just got himself his third championship Mountain West title and his third championship ring. Thank you so much for joining me here on Desk, Plato. Do you have any quick shout-outs you'd like to give to anyone who's watching before we say goodbye?
Thank you so much. Shout out to everyone who came out today. It was like 10 a.m. Tons of people were in the crowd, like Frost, all those people. I really appreciate it. Production, everything set up. It was beautiful, so. Shout out to everyone who came here and made it work. Good job.
Right. Well, this is our first interview. We are going to come back in a little bit with an additional interview with one of our other champions here from the Overwatch game. Thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back here in a few minutes with a new fresh face on desk.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here in Idaho, we do things a little differently. First rule, camouflage never goes out of style. Next, always use fry sauce. I mean, why wouldn't you? Hold steady when out-of-state friends think you're from Iowa. We call it pop, not soda. We always put a lift on our pickups. And we always buckle up because we still have a lot we want to do, and I'm guessing you do too.
It's the end of a good day's work in Idaho. Time to punch out. Time to check in and catch up. Time to remind ourselves that what we work for isn't a paycheck. It's to make the good things we have even better. So here's to your good day's work. Idaho Central Credit Union. We believe money is a thing. It's not everything.
Day Esports Arena. You are watching our post-game coverage from the Mountain West Overwatch Championships. The Broncos swept UNLV in a 3-0 series. I'm Artemis Rain, and joining me on desk for our post-game interview now is Matt Mercadante, also known as Matt Merc. All right, so Matt, a lot of casters definitely hype you up for your tank play. I myself did as well, but we didn't see you on tank today. Did you really enjoy the opportunity to flex out and play a lot of DPS?
Yeah, I've been queuing a lot of DPS in ranked, and Clear came in. He has a really good Ramatra and Diva, and those are like really strong right now, people are discovering. And so I saw the chance to play DPS. I have a pretty wide hero pool on it, honestly. And because of my ability to communicate as well, it's worked really well and been really fun, honestly.
Okay, so there was one moment where I think that communication broke down. What happened with Streets phase on King's Row when you took that 1v1 with Heydago?
I don't remember it.
You've expunged the experience from your mind?
You know, honestly, all my bad plays go away. I need to maintain my ego. So every time I make a bad play, it's immediately deleted from my memory.
Okay, so the pro strat here is have amnesia of any time you screw up.
Yeah, exactly. Don't reflect on your mistakes. Just only look at the times you do well.
That is very concerning. Now, okay, Matt, so this is officially your second Mountain West Championship title. You're one step behind Plato. What is the plan to continue forward to make sure you get all four?
Honestly, as long as we can keep playing at the level we're playing right now, I know we are going to have a couple people graduate, Plato, Goblin, Bagel. But if we pick up some new recruits, same level, and we can develop them, honestly, with the core we'll keep, I think we'll do just fine with our flexibility in our roster.
Well, I hope that rings true in the years to come. But before we close out this interview, do you have any, shout-outs you'd like to give for anyone watching or anyone that was here?
Yeah, I want to give a shout-out to Clear. I honestly think I'm not sure I deserve player of the match, honestly. He was doing a lot of work, but he's been getting it a lot recently. So you know what? I'll take it. But on King's Row in particular, I don't think I was playing at my best level, to say the least.
I mean, Jem and I on desk were both like, if it takes a full 5-man squad to take down one tank, that says something about how menacing that player is. So while I kind of agree with you, I also am glad we didn't give it to Clear, because I also agree with the statement of he's gotten it enough times at this point. So congratulations on not only winning Mountain West, but getting the ICCU Player of the Game. Thank you so much for joining me here on Desk, and thank you to everyone that stuck around so gosh darn early in the morning to watch some Mountain West showdowns. We have League of Legends coming up later, but for now, that's going to conclude our Overwatch for today, and I will see you the next time we have Overwatch here at the Boise State Esports Arena. Thank you so much, and have a great day.